Good evening and welcome to Mr. Wilson Live, the show in which we cover topics from biology and human and social biology for the CSEC syllabus. The reach of the show is the entire Caribbean island, and we are in Europe. We are, of course, the preferred free online class, and of course, the show that all students want to be a part of. Now, this evening, we are here to look at, of course, a birth control, or one might say family planning. But before we do so, be reminded that we're here every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 5:05 p.m. And we're streaming from Jamaica. Now, to all those who are joining us for the first time, good evening and welcome to the show. To those who are always here, good evening and welcome back. I tell you, this evening we have a pretty interesting lineup. I'm going to be giving some assignments. I might very well be giving some prize. Who knows what will happen? A number of things can happen. Now, we want to hop right into the show, being that all right, sorry about that. There was something on my screen there. All right, welcome to the show. For those persons who are in distant land, I want to also welcome you to the show, welcome you to the platform. Usually persons who are here, you're using your textbook or you have a browser that is open to go to Google so that you can access information and find it pretty easy going through the class. We're going to be here for about an hour and a half or two, and that is supposed to provide us with enough content, as it were, for both biology and human and social bio CSEC syllabus. This morning we released a timetable, a draft timetable from the CSEC. Now, persons are asking me if this is true. I did tell persons where they can get the information. I got it from the CXC website. All that I did was to narrate and, of course, put a little punch here and there. But, of course, yes, that article was, of course, published in January of this year. And that is pretty much a draft timetable for the 2021 exams. We're not sure if it will change. We don't know if something will come later. But whatever comes, I want my students to be prepared. So I have been closely monitoring the CXC website so that I can provide you with, of course, the most up-to-date information. I'm going to be also showing you, the persons who are here, the labs that you're expected to cover, be it biology or HSB. HSB, you're not going to be writing a lab, but of course the labs are usually on your paper. And in some cases, persons are saying that HSB is not a laboratory science, so you don't need to do any lab. There are labs on the paper, so you need to do some labs. So Mr. Wilson will be doing those labs with you, either by animation, sending it to my channel. I'm pretty much doing the explanation here. Now, if you have not yet liked, share, or subscribe, it is indeed time for you to do so. And when you do, remember to hit that notification bell, and you are going to select all so that you'll be notified as soon as there is a new publication. Just give me a bit here while I try to get all things working. I'm using a monitor to my right, and that is pretty much why I have been looking to the right somewhat, because of the monitor. Not too sure what is happening. My monitor is out. All right, so that's fine. All right, we're ready to go now. So you have liked, you have shared, you have subscribed, you have invited on your friends on over. I want everybody to be here early so that the show can start early, and the time will be in the show for the ads, and persons don't have to become flustered and the show don't have to become drawn up before the ads. I think you're going to be getting 2 ads at the start of the show. You might get some ad throughout the show, and of course I think you're going to be getting 2 ads at the end of the show. Don't worry about the ads. I'm going to be telling you a lot. I'm going to be telling you a little bit about the ads and why watch ads and all of that. I'm going to be sharing that with you this evening so that you are better informed where the ads are concerned, and then we're going to be going right through the show. I have a practical lineup here, and I should have put this disclaimer out. Since I didn't, I will do it now. Now, this show is primarily for students who are doing the topics in CSEC or any other exam body. The subject is above a minor. So if a kid is watching the show, you need to be watching the show with your parents, or you should have your parents' permission, as this show might carry things that are somewhat sexually aligned. It is not about sex, it's about birth contraceptive, birth control. We're going to be looking at some contraceptive method. So I'll be using some stuff that probably persons really don't want their kids to be exposed to as yet. So I suggest to us, if we have our siblings, if we have our kids, and you really don't want them to be exposed to all the practical that I have lined up, I suggest that you have them just move away from the monitor, move away from the sound within the area of the sound, because I'll be saying a lot of things that might not be what you'd love for your kid to hear at this time. I will also be showing you some stuff that probably you really don't want your kid to know as yet. There are some persons who don't mind. So if you don't mind, you can definitely keep your child around. It's your call. But I made sure to give the disclaimer. And I'll give the disclaimer again when I'm going to be showing you all the things I have lined up to my right here that persons need to know. Not too sure what's happening here, but something is definitely happening. Not too sure. Something is just not right here. All right, good. So we'll go. Now, what I want to talk about first is about the changes on the channel. We have to understand the channel in order for us to continue to be a part of the channel. I know that before the last class, there was no ads on the channel and all of that. So I need to sort of tell you what is happening with the ads and how the ads work. Now, I'm going to go through a very simple run through of that because I want you to understand the entire show. We started out without ads, right? And pretty much we started out, the whole objective was to meet the demand for some students, and that is another story. But we ended up meeting the demand of other students. But what is important is that we met the demand of some students. We started out and we needed to get to 1,000 subscribers. We were able to do that. Then we were able to, we needed to get 4,000 watch hours. We were able to get that. And having gotten those, you would have, of course, understood that ever since September, doing the show, whatever resource that you saw being used and the time that was expended was never ever been paid for. And at no point have I ever asked anyone to pay. And still, I will not be asking you to pay. I did promise to take you up to exam, and there shouldn't be any costs. As far as I know, up to exam. However, we became monetized about last week, Wednesday thereabout, and like it's like a miracle, guys. Trust me, it's like a miracle. One might say that Christ is in the vessel, and he was pretty much smiling at the storm, and knowing that we really want to give you a better quality production, so he pretty much smiled at the storm. And I'm going to be walking you through this very, very quickly. What happened? Because when you go to YouTube and you hear the horror stories about being monetized, if you want to be a vlogger, you might just hold your head and say, I'm not going to do it. Listen to our story. On Wednesday, we got a message that we were monetized. We started the application on Wednesday morning, about 5 o'clock. I'm an early person. By the evening, Wednesday evening, we went to the third step. We completed the application Wednesday evening. Thursday morning, we were approved. Record time, less than a day. CSEC Biology, the cover page, was approved for to be monetized. So Wednesday we applied. Thursday the ads were out, and of course all the videos on the channel were lucky. I think we have one ads that is not monetized, and nothing is wrong with the ads. I'll tell you which ads. One video that is not monetized, and I'll tell you which video is not monetized. The video that has to do with sexual inheritance, because it says sex. Sex can just be interpreted by one way by a software, but you know, sexual inheritance has nothing to do with sex. It is just some crossing and some explanation, some lines and all of that. And that one, we still can show the video, but there is no advertise. I don't think there's any ads on that. And then we have other channel. We have a new brand that we're putting out. Just stay with me as everybody come online. We have a new brand that we're putting out because we've realized that there's a disjoint between primary science, lower school science, and high school science. So the new brand that we have coming out is no longer to look at science as science. We're going to be teaching science as the particular exit science. So if we are teaching science at grade 7, we have a new line of video coming out for grade 7. And of course, we're teaching, for example, when we're looking at photosynthesis, we're not telling the kids about science. We're telling the kids about biology. And when we're going to be doing chemistry, we're going to tell them about chemistry. When we're doing physics, we're going to tell them about physics. And what is good is that we're going to bring these little ones onto the platform. They will be able to see the connection between grade 7 science and the exit exam pass paper. And we're doing this because we want to increase the passes and, of course, improve the performance. So you want to stay with us because we have plans to, of course, get everybody on board. I'm going to be taking you through a little literature I have here as to how the ads work and, of course, your role if there is any. So I want you to just listen as I go through it. I'd love to give you a short lesson on how ads work on YouTube. Now, the platform is pretty much a unique relationship between the viewers, which are, of course, you, the creator, that would be like me, advertisers, and of course, YouTube. So there are pretty much 4 set of persons who are in the relationship. The viewers, you, the creator, the advertisers, and of course, YouTube. Now, the viewers, they visit the channel to pretty much satisfy a need which is usually addressed by the many creators. So you might go to YouTube because you want to laugh. You might go to YouTube to complete a research. You might go to YouTube just to know something, the DIY, whatever, science class. You go to YouTube for entertainment, for education, for religion. The list of things that you go to YouTube for is more than I can name now. Then the creators create to share their skills. That's what we do. We create to share our skill and our passion, and of course to meet the needs of the viewers, among many other stuff. Pretty much the most important thing for us, or the most important aspect of creating, is to share with our viewers. Now, the benefit to any creator, it only comes when the ads are watched. So when you watch the ads, if you choose to watch the ads, then the creator benefit by a little remuneration from the advertisers. All right, and that's the only way. Now, the benefit helps the creator to improve output and, of course, pretty much it's a true source of motivation. So when you watch the ads, the creator would benefit, and the benefit might be monetary benefit, and of course it's a true source of motivation. Hence, when you watch ads, when you watch the ads and your choice videos, you are showing the creator you love and appreciate your love and appreciation for the work done by the creator. So when you watch the ads for the videos, you are pretty much saying, creator, I do appreciate your job, I do like your work, and this is my way of paying you back because I don't know you and probably I don't have the money to pay. But watching the ads, this is my way of giving back. Right? So that's pretty much how the ads work while you're seeing the ads on the station. Now, the advertisers, they are marketing their product. Who knows? You might just pretty much see something in one of the ads that you weren't even thinking about, and it just come in nice, handy, and dandy. It has happened to me, and I have purchased softwares because they pretty much pop up in front of me on the screen. Wasn't looking for them, but they came in at the time very, very handy. So the advertisers, like I said, they are advertising their product on the platform with the intent, to do what? Now, YouTube is pretty much a regulatory body. So YouTube is ensuring that the content that is sent out, it is to the best as YouTube can really treat with it, the best content. Now, of course, there are things that might slip through the crack, and when they do, YouTube also have things to catch up on that, like flagging and all of that, and a whole lot of other stuff, and you can get kicked off and suspended and all of that. So YouTube have that. So pretty much the little lesson here, because it is new to my platform, I wanted to ensure that you understand how the ads on all my videos, on all my shows, how they work. It pretty much they provide you remuneration for the creator. They say to the creator when you watch the videos, the ads, that I appreciate your work and I am pretty much giving back, just like the creator is giving you. So it is up to you whether you watch ads from start to finish. If you watch less than 30 seconds of ads, the creator is not giving anything. Right? It is always best to watch all the ads if you choose to watch all the ads. That's pretty much how the ads work. 101. I will do a video on it to explain more about the ads and where they are in the show so that you can treat with it. All right, that said, that's a 101. I do hope that that was helpful to you. I'm going to be doing my roll call now and go straight into the lesson. So I go right to the top and I see Martin, good evening. I see Barnett, good evening. I see Macmillan, good evening. Powell is also here. Miller is here. Anderson is also here. Treasure is here as well. I said Powell already. Jawawan is here. Brett Waite is also here. Radway is here. Nick Harrison, welcome, is also here. Kevin Mackenzie is here. Otisha is here. Cardis, I'm not too sure if I pronounce that properly. She's also here. And of course, Brittany Gray is here. And of course, SD is also here. SD, that's something that stands out there. Welcome to the show. And let's hop right into it. So we're going to be looking at birth control. Some might say birth contraceptive. And that is always on your exam paper. So it's one of the things that you need to know. It is going to come somewhere probably about 40, no, 50 on the exam paper. So you need to know about birth control. So let's get into it. So the first thing we want to know is what is birth control or what is family planning? It might come as birth control or family planning. What is family planning? To you, tell me in the chat what is family planning, and I'll share with you what I think it is. So I'll tell you what I think it is. Family planning, good day. Family planning is pretty much that method of controlling the number of offspring, and it is also used to space the number of offspring that families will have. That's pretty much what family planning is. You plan how many you are going to have and how near or far you are going to be having them. Pretty much. Now, the reasons for family planning is the other thing that we need to look at. Now, the reasons are many. Are you with me? I'm not too sure. I'm not seeing anything in the chat. Nobody is moving. I hope you haven't fallen asleep on me. What's happening? So we just looked at, of course, family planning and what it is. We said that family planning is pretty much a method of controlling the number and timing of offspring. All right, so it's a decision of how and when you have child or children. Very well. Yes, that is true. That is true. In many ways it can be said, but anything around the time and the number is, of course, going to be good definition or explanation as to what is family planning. Now, what are the reasons for family planning? Why is it that persons need to plan their family? All right. So making decision about the number and timing of children in a family. Good. So what are the reasons for family planning? Why is it that we need to plan our family? Why can't we just go out and just do just about anything and get children? All right. When we plan our family, it makes the limited resource being able to extend a little more. So there will be more resources available to, for example, send students onto tertiary institution or to high school, as it were, or in some cases, even primary school. If we are planning well, we can pretty much put a budget as to how we spend this money and, example, how we're going to benefit in the long run. Now, when we plan our family, everything is pretty much expensive. It's less expensive when we have a smaller family because we have less clothes to buy, we have less lunch money, we have all sorts of less we can talk about that we don't have to spend when we have small family. There will, of course, be more money available in small, controlled family. if you observe here, I did not say that there will be more money available in small families, because I know a lot of small families that still don't have anything. But if it's a well-planned family and it is small, of course, more resource will be available. All right, must be beneficial, uh, stable when thinking about having children. All right, you have to think about how you have kids. You can't just go out and just leave them to run on the street. Not the best thing. Sir, it is important because couples need to decide upon how many children their income and other resources can support. Very good. You need to know that, because there's an artist in Jamaica that says that anywhere it is, persons are going to go and get it once they are hungry. Now, another reason for family planning is, of course, time will be made available for the parents' career. So probably persons really don't want to have children in the young days because they want to be career person, or they might want to procure assets, right? So they want asset and they want career. So they might just choose to go the family planning method or family planning way, so as to ensure that they have enough resource to deal with all of this. Now, another very important reason for family planning, and if you ask me, and I'm going to deviate a little bit, if you ask me, the big idea around family planning is to control population size. And I'm going to go to two examples for you, and then I'm going to come back and you can throw in your examples if you know. Family planning is having the amount of children that one can afford. That pretty much entails family planning. Now, I don't know if we're too young. I was probably a kid then when I think Jamaica, through the Ministry of Health, whatever it was called at the time, went on a campaign called Two is Better Than Too Many, right? And they were saying that, listen to me, family, you need to have two kids more than having too many. And that was one of Jamaica's most successful social campaign. And because of that campaign, it is said that we have a very unique population graph, a population graph for a third world country that somewhat fits that model of a first world country. You could look at the model, the population graph for Jamaica. It's a very unique graph, doesn't really fit in the context of most standard graph. And they are lightning, are they pretty much attribute this success to the two is better than too many campaign. Then you think about China. Let's go to China and the one child policy in China, where the population was pretty much blossoming, really, really growing exponentially. And they went into the one child policy. However, if you were in a rural area, or if you had enough money, if you were affluent, then you could have been given permission to have more than one child. But of course, there was always a limitation, among other stuff which I really don't want to talk about in the show for a reason of the show. So family planning, while we could look at it at a family, through the eyes of a family, we have to look at family planning on the bigger picture of the world population growth. Because we remember what happened in Somalia, we'll remember what was said about Haiti. So if you're having more citizens in your country than you can cater for, then it's going to lead to riot, starvation, disease, and the list of things will continue. You are going to even have unstable government if your population is really too great for the resource that is available. So of course, it is very, very important that countries deal with controlling population, and they do this through family planning and birth control and all sort of other methods. Even the age of consent, they use the age of consent to pretty much regulate the number of individuals in a particular population. When I talk about a population, be it in Jamaica, Trinidad, Guyana, St. Vincent, wherever, they use pretty much all these methods, and they are used differently as you move from place to place, from Caribbean island to Caribbean island, from continent to continent. The age of consent might somewhat differ. However, there are disadvantages to everything. There's always advantages and there are always disadvantages. Now, the thing about birth control is that in some cases, persons are so locked into career, locked into gaining asset, locked into finding the ideal person, which seldomly ever come, that they get to a stage where they put themselves and, of course, the offspring at risk. Now, somebody said last week that when you get to age 38 and over, you are at risk. You are at risk, and the child is pretty much at risk of being born with deformities, things like Down syndrome, and so on. So, older mothers are at risk of having children with birth defect. And we talk about the birth defect, we're talking about things like Down syndrome, where you're having an extra chromosome. So instead of having 46, you end up with 47. And if you have never seen anyone with Down syndrome, it might be nice for you to go on over to Google, type in Down syndrome, and look at what it looks like. Now, Down syndrome does not only affect human, other animals are also affected by Down syndrome. Now, another problem with women having babies too old is that the baby might have learning challenges. And these are some things that we have to take in consideration when we go practicing family planning and when we are in chase of career and assets and Mr. Right and Mrs. Right. We have to also think about replacing ourselves on earth and ensure that when we replace ourselves, it is not so late that we're going to put further added strain on the country and the community and the family on yourself because you have a child that is in need of special care. These things we have to think about when we are doing the family planning, not just to say I don't want to have an offspring that early. We have to make sure that we have it at a balance. Now, another thing about the family planning, as we go through with family planning and go through with family planning and go through with family planning and go through with family planning, wanting to live the ideal life, the party life, the life of affluence, we get to a point where we're affected by some growth or some problem, some problem in the body, and then it becomes difficult or impossible for you to become pregnant. So when you're doing your birth contraceptive, I want you to take in consideration your age. I want you to be talking to your doctor. I want you to be taking in consideration the reality as to whether you are going to need a child or not need a child. Because you might be there thinking that you are doing all the best and you're laughing at the other persons over by next door or down the road because they had a child when they were 20 or 21 and you were driving a Beamer then. They might be laughing at you a couple of years later to say that you have to ask that Beamer to fetch you a cup of water. And you really don't want that to happen. So ensure that you are planning and you are planning well. I'm not too sure what's happening with the feed, Stephen. It seems to be a little slow. Let me just test to see how the feed is going this evening. The types of birth control can be looked at in pretty much two groups. All right. So I'll tell you one. Your birth control method or contraceptive method could be natural. Tell me in the chat, what is the other method of birth control? If not natural, what is it going to be? Let me know if you're sleeping. I really want to find that out. As we're going to be looking at the mode of operation, how the birth contraceptive work, and we're going to be going through the full gamut of birth contraceptive. And I'm going to be giving about 4 persons assignment for Wednesday's class. I do have some assignment here for Wednesday's class. I will look in the chat and I'm going to be naming some persons and I'm going to be giving you some assignment. So some persons are saying artificial, some persons are saying barrier. Is there any other method we don't want to talk this evening? Remember, I made mention of natural. So artificial, guys, careful. Condom, condom would be a little because we're looking at the 2 main methods, and the 2 main methods, I'm seeing a lot of persons coming in with some nice things here. So we have natural, and of course the other is going to be artificial. Now the barrier and the condom and all those other stuff will of course fall nicely under one of these, and as we go through the lesson, everybody will pretty much find out where we put each of these contraceptive method. Paul is saying, sir, question. for abortion, I know that it's not a part of this topic. It is indeed a part of the topic, and it's going to be the last thing that I'll be covering this evening. Abortion is a part of the topic for HSB. But does it affect them with getting pregnant after doing abortion? Plenty sort of, plenty, plenty is a stretch. But of course, if you, of course, have abortion and it is not properly done, of course, you might have some challenges getting pregnant somewhere down the road. We're going to be looking at abortion at the end, to the end of the class today. So you want to stick around. We're going to be talking about a lot of things, how it is done, why it is done, and so on and so forth. So the two types of birth control that we are looking at would be natural and artificial. Now, the other thing that we need to know, the calendar method, that's rhythmic sex, we soon talk about those and where they fall, and we soon talk about vasectomy, we soon talk about condom, and where they fall. In a matter of fact, you'll be telling me where they fall as I go through with the explanation. So the mode of operation for contraceptive might be different. When we talk about mode of operation, we're pretty much talking about how they work. All right. So the mode of operation. So the mode of operation might be that a contraceptive prevents fertilization, right? Some contraceptive might prevent implantation, all right? And some also will prevent the transfer of STI. So we have contraceptive that will pretty much, if safely used, it will stop you from having sexually transmitted disease or infection, whichever one you prefer to say. So the mode of action is going to be that it pretty much stop fertilization or pretty much stop implantation, right? And we're going to be going through them, so you have to listen and follow so that you can answer the questions as I go through the lesson. Now, we spoke about the reasons for family planning. We're going to be looking at the importance of birth control now. So the importance of birth control, the first thing we could think about, what is the importance of birth control? Tell me in the chat. One of the big things about birth control, it is going to decrease unwanted pregnancy. All right. So, persons get pregnant, but that's not what I want. And this is just not the time that I wanted it. And more so, it was not with that female or it was not with that male. But if you used a contraceptive, then you wouldn't have to pretty much think about that. Contraceptive is, of course, going to prevent pregnancy. That is, of course, a good one. Of course, it reduces the risk to the mother's health. There are some women that doctors will tell them that it is not wise for you to get pregnant, because if you do, it is going to cause this. And when it causes this, then pretty much you might pretty much lose your life. So it's very important to reduce the risk to mother's health with unwanted pregnancy. Now, another thing, population control. All right. Another thing is that it reduces infant mortality. And we talk about reduction in infant mortality. I'm even now going back to I think Powell. I'm going to go back to Powell. This idea of having these illegal abortions or anything like that, it reduces that if you are using contraceptive. Now, contraceptive is going to be a touchy topic, and the entire lesson this evening is going to be a touchy topic, because there's cultural norms and there are religious norms that will definitely not like this topic. But of course, we are covering this topic to meet the needs of the CSEC syllabus. All right, so it's not something that we took on our own. Another thing about another importance of birth control is that it improves emotional care to the child or children. So I'll explain that to you. So Mr. Wilson is this man that thinks that, listen to me, man, we have enough whatever and whatever in a bundle. And he has one here and one there and one over there and one over there. And can you imagine when this child falls and probably hit the knee or the butt or somewhere, and then there's no dad or there's no mom around to like pretty much lay trouble on her shoulder. Mom, I hit here, or dad, I hit here. That emotional thing is lost. And then the child just grew up and is devoid of emotion. A child becomes an adult and just don't understand. What's this emotion thing you're talking about? I don't deal with emotion. I don't have any idea what you're talking about. What does that mean? Come on, get up and move right along. And then persons now will say, oh, is this a robot? But no, It pretty much started from that unwanted pregnancy, if it was, or that divide or that separation in the relationship that pretty much would have caused this emotional loss. And of course, a damaged child, which will grow up to be a damaged adult and might end up damaging others, all because the child was devoid or divorced of this emotional care. So I want to ensure that we are looking at contraceptive. Now, contraceptive is always going to prevent STI and, of course, HIV and AIDS, among other sexually transmitted disease. And we have to pay attention to that. Now, I am not going to teach you in this lesson that a condom is all safe. I'll tell you what the syllabus says, and I'll tell you what's the reality on the ground. All right? Because the syllabus will tell you about some best use, but I'll tell you about things on the ground. Now, the first thing I want to look at the methods now of contraceptive. So I want to hear your view on abstinence. Is it a method that even makes sense? Let us have a discourse around this. Abstinence. All right? Be reminded to like, share, and subscribe. This is, of course, Mr. Wilson Live, and we're covering content for the CSEC Biology and HSB syllabus. We're streaming from Kingston, Jamaica, and we're on a Wednesday, Friday, Sunday at 5:05 p.m. Please be reminded to like, share, and drag your friends on over, because exam, I think, is in 3 or 4 months' time. I think that it's the timetable is saying that it is, of course, June, July. Now, I did put a publication out today with the timetable. You want to go over to my channel and look at that and find the dates for your exam. If this ever change, I will make sure that I update the information accordingly and post it as I have with this new information. So we're looking now at abstinence. And abstinence, for those persons who don't know, is pretty much to stay away from intimacy. I want to call it intimacy now for the want of protecting those kids. I might not use some words, and I do hope that you are following. So abstinence is to pretty much stay away from copulation, right? Or yeah, pretty much that. Abstinence is to stay away. Yes, sir. It's refrain from sexual intercourse. Very good. No abstinence. This would prevent STI. If you stay away, there is no way. If you don't walk in the rain, you're going to get wet by the rain. You might get wet by something else, but definitely not the rain. Mr. Lewis is saying no abstinence does not work. That creates a greater issue, but not educating the youth about their body and sexual desire. So there's this view I was saying that abstinence, I am not for abstinence, because pretty much it will not allow us as a population to continue being dominant. But it is, of course, something for you to look at and to see if it is a feasible method. And I'm going to be going through a number of things with it, but of course, person's view are person's view, and we're not here to shoot them down. This is pretty much where we debate to pretty much find an amicable spot that we can operate from. So abstinence, it means just don't do it. Just don't be a part of that whole thing. All right. It is, of course, 100% safe against pregnancy and STI. So if you don't do it and you don't go there, it is almost 100% safe from catching it through that method. That's another big thing to say, because you might find yourself with some of these stuff. You have not been involved in anything like that, and you're saying, but I followed the textbook and I still ended up with it. So this is very, very important. Another thing about abstinence is that all that is required is, of course, what I refer to as superior self-control that is beyond normal. Self-control that for the 35 years of a woman's reproductive life, I think it's between age 15 and 50 or thereabout, for that 35 years, you'd have to have a whole lot of self-control for that period of time, because the hormones are there and they are working and they are saying, listen to me, this is what you should do. So you will have to find some way of treating with that. Now, having looked at abstinence, stay away, don't walk in the rain, you will not get wet. The other thing we're going to be looking at is, of course, rhythmic sex or what we call the safe period. Now, the truth is, when I teach this topic, I usually caution my students that I am teaching you a topic. I'm not giving you something to go and do a practical. So I'm teaching you a topic. I'm not giving you something to go and do a practical because I have no proof that it really works, one. And two, there's an age of consent for doing everything. And I don't want anybody to get the boys in trouble or get themselves in trouble or for us to end up with any more pregnancy that we did not want. So here I'm going to be talking about rhythmic or safe period sex. It is not a practical I'm giving. So the rhythmic sex, as it suggests, is working with pretty much a safe period. And the safe period we're going to be talking about more in this lesson. Now, it takes place only when the egg is believed to be absent. I want you to look at the word believe. I want to use believe. It only takes place when the egg is believed to be absent. Right? And why I use believe is because your cycle can change without you knowing. You really don't get a bump growing on the skin to tell you that your cycle has changed or the color of your eye change. No, it can change without you knowing. So what I'm saying here is that it takes place when the egg is believed to be absent. We don't know when it is absent, but we are going to give you some theory around that. Now, it is not safe as a woman may have irregular period, or one might say she really don't know when she's going to ovulate. Now, it limits the time when partners can be involved. And you know what involved here means. All right. So with rhythmic sex, it pretty much limit the time. And we're going to talk about these 5 days that are dangerous days. Another thing, nothing extra is needed for this method. You don't need anything extra. All you need is a male and a female. That is all that is required. Now, the dates that we are looking at here, and these are dates if you have a 28 regular menstrual cycle, a 28 days regular menstrual cycle. So no of I'm going to say none of that for the use of for purpose of YouTube, and I think that you know what that means. None of that should take place between the 11th and 17 days of the 11th day and the 17th day. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, stop. Nothing should happen from the 11th, 12th, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, nothing up to that time. I feel like I count a whole lot. So nothing should happen between the 11th day and the 17th day after the start. After the start. So you must have a calendar to know when it started. Nothing should happen between or from the 17th, from the 11th day to the 17th day after the start of menstruation. All right, so menstruation start on the 1st, on the 11th, stay away. On the 12th, stay away. The 13th, stay away. 14th, stay away. 15th, stay away. 16th, stay away. 17th, still not certain. Stay away. These are dangerous days. Now, it is considered that on the 14th day, which is pretty much midway in your cycle, and the 15th day are pretty much around the days for ovulation. We're talking about rhythmic sex. Now, the 11th to 17th days are days that fertilization may take place. Rhythmic method intercourse is restricted to time when ovum should be absent. Yes, should, nice word. All right. Renik is laughing. Not a practical. Okay. Hello, Mr. Wilson. Hi, how you doing? Big up yourself. You posted the date for bio exam on your page. Insta or Facebook. Oh, you're asking where did I post it? Oh, it's on the YouTube channel. CSEC Biology, the cover page. I have an yeah, I think I have an Instagram account, but I can't use Instagram. And I think I have a Facebook account, but I can't use them as yet. I think I need to put somewhere there. So it's on YouTube now. I'll come over there pretty soon. As soon as you guys start echoing me, say, I want to see you over there. You'll see me over there. So much, dear sir. Well, it's between the 11th. It says between the 11th and 14th day, 11th and 17th day. Yes, a whole lot of days, and I'm happy that it's a lot of days. I'm very happy that it's a lot of days. Very, very happy that it's a lot of days. All right, but like Rennie, if you know that this is just textbook for you, I know that you're inquiring for the exam. Jamaica very festive. That's a car passing. All right. Yes, it's so much days. Sir, is this effective? Bless. All right, cool. Effectiveness, I'm going to be showing you a grid as to how effective it is. Sir, my book says 8 to 18 days. Very good. I'm happy that your book is saying that. I am saying 11 to, to 17, and your book is saying 8 to 18. Different authors will cover different things, and of course, different person might react differently. And by virtue of you saying your author is saying 8 to 18, and somebody asks if it is safe, you have just gotten your answer. Some persons will say 8 to 18, some persons will say 11 to 17. 11 to 17 is within 8 to 18. So you clearly understand that 8 to 18, you need to understand what is the length of the menstrual cycle that they are talking about. The length that I'm talking about is a 28-day cycle. So it's not just about the 11th and 12th and 13. If you have a 21-day cycle, what will it be? If you have a 30 or 32, the cycle different from person to person. The 28 days is pretty much an average. The 28 days is pretty much an average. Some person might have 28, some might have less, some might have more. All right, so we need to know what's the length of that. Okay. All right, take it easy, ready. Take it easy, ready. Take it easy. All right. So pretty much that is as to whether it is safe or not. What is safe? What is safe? No, it is not safe. It has its own drawback. And as I have said before, you don't know and you can't say for sure when ovulation is taking place. Of course, we could talk about some measures that we're going to be talking about now. When ovulation is taking place, the body temperature will naturally rise. So on those days, your body is going to feel a little warmer. And another thing is that you're going to be having more mucus discharge. So we know that that is happening. And if you are using your calendar, probably you could pretty much do the calculation. But there are some times when your diet, the environment, your social condition might change, and this might pretty much throw your rhythm totally off. You might have some hormonal imbalance or hormonal change in the body, and that too might just throw off just about everything. Sir, we're going up till 7 or 8. What time is it now? We might go up to about 7:30. All right. True, sir. This method don't sound safe at all. Well, as we go through, I want you to tell me which of the method is safe. Sir, you have a app will tell you when your ovulation and period start and end. Rennie, I like that. That is true. You have apps. I remember apps. It is an app. So it is pretty much a software that is written to do this evaluation under normal circumstances. But suppose it is one of those circumstances that the software can't detect if today is the day that somebody passed in your family, or today is a day where you witness a real traumatic situation. The software doesn't take that in consideration, and we have to take that in consideration, being that the software is not taking it into consideration. So, sir, this is not effective. Not at all, it is not effective, but it is used. And when we say not effective, we are talking about not being 100% effective. Because I'm sure that you could find persons who could say, I've been using this all my life and I am fine. All right. It's showing, I don't know what ISA mean, high. Oh, when it's at high chance and low chance of getting pregnant. Boy, Rennie, just tell us the name of that app in the chat. And I'm not asking you to tell me the name in the chat. because I want persons to use the app. I just want persons to understand that technology is so advanced. The last time we spoke about babies and the app that you could use to see the development. So here, Renique is telling us about some app that you can use to do all sorts of stuff. And there are many apps out there. Some are accurate and some are just not accurate. And I do suggest that if it is not, if you don't want to get wet, don't walk in the rain. The app is man-made, but the body is not. So changes can occur at any time. Thank you very much, Martin. Changes can occur about any time. Now we haven't looked at pretty much. Amoy, how you doing? Period tracker. Amoy is in the house. Big up yourself. So we have looked so far at abstinence. We have looked at rhythmic sex. Now we're going to be looking at withdrawal. All right. And I don't know. I think the safest one so far, Renee, would be abstinence. I would pretty much recommend that for you. All right. I'd recommend that for any of my students. All right. It named period tracker or calendar tracker. I have learned something today. I'm going to put it on my phone. I'm going to put it on my phone. I'm putting something. I'm going to put in some data about me. And I'm sure that those data are going to return when I'm going to be seeing my period and I am a man. So that is a good example. All right. So here we go. So we're looking now at the withdrawal. All right. Another ovulation is that the urine will have a higher than normal scent. All right. There we go. That is why we like this class. The scent of the urine will definitely change. But there are other reasons why the scent of the urine could change. So we have to bear that in mind as well. Now, withdrawal is when the penis is withdrawn before ejaculation. YouTube flagged that, but that is fine. This is pretty much a class, it's educational purpose. So pretty much withdrawal is pretty much removing that male reproductive organ from the female reproductive organ before rain start falling. I don't want to say some things to violate YouTube policy. So we want to remove those before rain start falling, because that's the rain before the male part is removed from the female part. Then you understand that pregnancy will be the next thing in line. Now, this is pretty much an unreliable method. Unreliable method, and it relies a whole lot on self-discipline. And yes, sir. All right, so have a clearer urine. So Renique is saying that during ovulation the urine is clearer. I don't know, but I'm very happy for this information. Amai, what you have on that? You are the medical person here. The app is always right for a period. From my experience, don't know about the ovulation though. All right, for your experience, it is always right. Renique, sir, where? Renique, I don't understand text language here. Name. Oh, abstinence. Abstinence. To abstain, to stay away. True. I'm sorry to disturb your class. Will you be speaking about how environment affect the menstrual cycle? No, we're not going to get into that. I might just blow over it, but not really. It's not on the syllabus. But environment is sort of bigger than just the rain and the temperature and all of that, you know. Environment also taking other persons and other stuff. So we're going to touch a little bit, but not as environment as persons would consider environment to be. So just back to the withdrawal. So the withdrawal, like we said, is to remove the male part from the female part before it starts raining. And if it starts raining before all this is done, then the next thing we could think about is that we're going to be having a baby on the way. Now, it is a pretty unreliable method, as being that there might be semen leakage before the rain start falling. Somebody asked me in the last class if somebody could get pregnant by semen, and we're saying there could be leakage. You don't really have to have that big shower of rain. You could have a little drew, and a little drew got caught in the semen, and before you know it, there is a baby. It requires great discipline. It requires great discipline. And let me tell you something, ladies. I have to talk to my girls here. There might be these persons who, for some reason, they are able to convince you in doing what you should not do, or what you're not prepared to do. And they might tell you about this method. I can do this and I can do that. Listen to me. Don't believe in what anybody else can do. Believe in what you can do. You can walk away and say no, no, no. There's always another time or no other time. Make the decision whether it's going to be another time or no other time. All right. So that is pretty much withdrawal. And we're going down. And as we go down, you can tell me which is the safest so far and that type of thing. Now we are at the method. This method. And being that we're here and I have things can show you, I will show you. So if there's a kid watching, I'm going to ask you to remove them from the set so that I can show you what I'm going to show you. Now, if you are going to be watching this video and there's a kid beside you, the replay or otherwise, as soon as we get to this part, I'm going to ask you to just move a kid because I'm going to be showing some things on screen that probably you really don't want your child to see. So here we go. We are ready. 1, 2, 3, and we're ready. So we're going to be talking about the condom. All right. And condoms are so special. When I was going to college and we had to do presentation on condoms, they say they come in all sort of color, texture, and whatever other things I don't want to talk about. All right. So the condom is pretty much looking like this. It comes in the package pretty much looking like that. If you observe, it's a latex. For those persons who don't know, this is pretty much a student class. So students wouldn't know about condom. They probably heard about it. But when they come to class, we have to show them the practical. Usually, I'm not going to be showing you how to use a condom for the purpose of YouTube. All right. So they come with all sort of texture and all of that as to the reason. It's usually like that. And this part here is placed over the male organ and it is rolled down over the male organ. And of course, it is fitted. So pretty much this is what it is, a condom. And you will appreciate the fact that it is pretty much a barrier method because what would have happened, just let me roll it out a little more, trying not to allow you to see everything for the purpose of YouTube. So it is all rolled out a little bit now. So for those persons who don't know, it is pretty much a barrier method. If I had an assistant, I would show you something. And I'm definitely, all right, so what would happen is I blew in it and you would have seen whatever the rain, as we spoke about for the adults or persons who understand, would be collected in this portion here. And this would, of course, prevent pregnancy. And of course, this would have been on the male reproductive organ. And whatever came from the organ would have been collected in this. And then after copulation, this would have been removed and be discarded off. So we're going to be talking more about this as we continue through the lesson. So the first thing we need to know is that this is a barrier method. This is pretty much, one might say latex, or some person might say plastic. And if you observe, it's stretchable. See, it can stretch. It's a latex rubber sheet. Okay, so you use those two words there, Powell, and YouTube don't like those words. So YouTube are hiding those words. And if you observe, I've not been using those words because YouTube don't like those words and advertisers don't like those words. All right, so it's pretty much a latex and it's a barrier. And of course, one would call it a rubber sheet. And like I said, it is used to cover that male part whenever there is copulation. Now, it is also effective in the spread of HIV and other STI, all right, sexually transmitted disease. This is usually very helpful. Now, there are cases where this might be as much trouble as not having it, because sometimes when we think that we're safe, you're wearing a gloves and you think that you're safe, you have more problem. Because at the end here, there might be the pathogen in a liquid portion, and depending on how tightly fit this is to the male organ, you might have the pathogen getting inside, and before you know it, you have the same problem that you were running from. Now, so it is also easy to access. You can go to about any corner shop, any store, anywhere, and you can get yourself a pack or get whatever. You can go to the clinic and you can get it to use so as to prevent unwanted pregnancy. Now, if it is used properly, it is safe. It is probably one of the most popular used method of birth contraceptive. A thing about it though, if I were supposed to smell my hand now, yes, it can burst. All right, so I don't know. I could probably try to pull it. I heard it. It just burst a while ago. And of course, if you observe, it's burst, but you can't see it, that it is burst. But I heard it, and that is one of the problem is that it might end up bursting and you don't know. That's why you should stay away. There's just a little tear to the side there. Probably you can see it. A little tear to the side there. And this could happen under normal circumstance of being in that action and it of course bursts. And when it bursts, usually Mr. Irresponsible might not tell you because he's also what happened. And before you know it, he said that everything is fine. You think that everything is fine. You were too shy to look at it. And then the next thing you know happening, you have a story to tell your mother about how you're getting fat. It's because you're comfortable and you're home for COVID, so you really don't want that. But I was talking about the scent just now, and I'm saying that there are some persons who are allergic to it. There are some persons who are allergic to it. So when you use it, it might cause itching, it might cause odor, it might cause discharge, and these are some drawback to using this method for some person. However, they come in various fragrance, various everything. Too much for me to mention on YouTube with this type of a video. All right, I would have to have something that kids can't watch. And of course, there are some made by some company that pretty much treats with the sensitiveness of some women that it will not cause irritation and so on. So depending on the type, you might want to talk to somebody that understands, or you probably want to talk to your doctor, and probably one could be recommended for you. I know I have a lot of adult learner here, and for that reason, I'm speaking the way that I am. It must be stored properly because it can be damaged over time. It's not the best thing to walk with this thing in your wallet because after sitting on it and sitting on it and the temperature increases and increasing and decreasing and increasing and decreasing, then it becomes very easy for this thing to burst. All right. So, of course, you have to remember that. Now, another thing about this is that in some cases, depending on the design, it might affect pleasure, right? It might enhance or it might reduce pleasure. And that might be one of the reasons why persons choose to use it or not to use it. All right. And then there's the whole cultural norm of listen to me, I am not doing anything with any bag. And then there's a religious part of it and a whole a lot of other stuff that we have to treat with in, of course, spreading the message of controlling population. So we're looking at the condom just now. I gave you a practical, I showed you the condom as to how it is placed on the male organ. I suggest that you watch another video. I don't have the rights to show that in this video. And if I do, I'm going to be finding myself in some serious trouble with YouTube. So I really don't want to do that for this video. I don't know. I could do a video on that, but I'd have to change the rating of the video so that YouTube won't flag it. I'd have to ensure that certain age can't watch it any at all. But this video doesn't allow for that. The next thing I want to talk about is the diaphragm. All right. Rennie there and she'll tell me about everything. Rennie, can you know name diaphragm? If you're from the Caribbean and you don't understand the Jamaican Creole, just let me know. I will address that. All right, so I've seen a lot of laughing there, and it is usually something typical for reproduction class and contraceptive class. We get a whole lot of laughter in these classes, but we have to teach what we have to teach. So I'm going to be looking at the barrier method. It's another barrier method. The condom is, of course, a barrier method. It is not a natural method. It's artificial because we're using this thing to prevent, block the rain from wetting up anywhere. So this is, of course, a barrier method. Another thing we're going to be looking at is what we refer to as the cap. I have not been showing you any package because that is advertisement and I'm not advertising for anyone. The show is not sponsored more than those persons you see advertise on YouTube. All right, so here we have the diaphragm. I remember I did ask persons to step away. Diaphragm, it prevents supermarket from, from okay. Hello, sir. Rennie, the flag, what you have there, no, I don't know why the flag is. I really don't know. So let us get back to this. Renique is my student, and she's this vibrant kid. So I understand her. Don't worry too much about Renique. All right. So the diaphragm is also called the cap, and if you look in your textbook, it will resemble something more like this. If you're looking at textbook, it will resemble something like that. But I'm going to be showing you the entire thing now. So the diaphragm is pretty much called a cap, and of course it is placed in the canal there. All right, I want to call it the vaginal canal for the purposes of YouTube. It is placed in the vaginal canal pretty much around the neck of the cervix. Now, it is usually used as spermicidal gel or spermicidal cream, and it's something in a tube like this, and you use it to apply. All right. How it is used, I am not a doctor. I have never done it. It is just pure theory that I'm working with. No. We use spermicidal gel. It is, of course, a barrier method. And of course, when you are going to use it, you should have medical advice the very first time you use it. I am not a doctor. So even though I am telling you these things, it doesn't mean that you are going to follow my instruction to insert it because I have no training to do such. All right. I do hope I made that clear. So it is placed over the cervix. So now persons are sort of not quinting because they want to see what it look like. Now some book might tell you that it have a wire or a ring or something like that. But I'm going to be showing you it pretty much feels pretty much like the condom we looked at just now. But the construct is a little different. I'm trying to get it all even and all of that because there's a thick ring on the inside of it that is sort of giving me some trouble now, but I'm going to be showing you just in a bit. All right, beautiful, we're here. All right, so it looks like this. I don't know, there must be something in the real world that looks like this. So it has this big ring at the top. You see the big ring at the top? And it has this very thick ring. This is very, very thick. This one at the bottom is really, really thick. So here we have it. I am trying to fix it. Don't give me any trouble. So it's falling out now. All right. And these are some of the problems that you might be associated with. All right, so here we have it. So we have a thick ring at the top here, this ring here, and then we have this ring at the bottom here. Now, so it is inserted with this part inside. So this smaller ring will be the ring that will be fit over the cervix. All right, and then the male reproductive part will enter into this part where my hand is. All right, so the male reproductive part will enter where my hand is, but the entire thing here will go into the canal. So my hand here is being the canal, and at the top here is being the neck of the cervix, and here down the bottom here would be like the labia, the outside there. So this is pretty much inside now, and this part is outside there, and of course, like I have said, like that. Now let us continue. So it is placed over the cervix, and usually it is inserted an hour before. All right, at least an hour before. Of course, the time could be different, so don't lock me down to an hour. Now, it does not interfere with pleasure. That is what they say. I don't know. The literature is saying that it does not interfere with pleasure and must be placed in, must, of course, remain in at least 6 hours after use. I don't know. That is what the literature is saying. And of course, another big problem with this is that it might slip. It might very well, all the rain get for wet up all the places you never want the rain for wet. And then you know what will happen. But the good thing about it is that it is used with spermicidal gel. So the spermicidal gel would have some other effects on it, like slowing down the movement of those little ones. And of course, in some cases, killing those little ones. All right. Cover uterus opening. And that is the cervix. That's the uterus opening. Yes, yes, Renique, and I like that. So this is what they call the woman condom. That is what Renique is saying. This is a woman condom. It is actually called femidom, or they call it femidom, they call it diaphragm, they call it cap, they call it a number of other names. All right. So let me see what's in the chat. You can chat now, guys. That too big though. Is that thick ring flexible? All right, beautiful. So I'll show you. So this is a top ring, and you observe it can bend, but though this can bend, the one at the bottom is really, really much thicker. It can bend, but it is really, really like a real rigid cartilage. This one is really, really thick. And as to being drawn, it doesn't have that level of elasticity as the one at the top would have. All right, so this is called a female condom. All right, pretty much that's what it's called. All right, so let us continue. Anything where's Amoy, the medical person? Is it a thick ring, flexible? Good morning, Mr. Wilson. Me love that rain, you know. Go inside, Rennie. Must doctor must help to put it in. All right. It look like it can maybe uncomfortable. Sir, seem difficult to use. All right, so it is called a femidom. It is called a female condom. In some cases, there are some smaller version that they really call it cap or diaphragm, but this pretty much does the same thing. And of course, like I said, can slip. It may cause allergic reaction because just like the condom, it has a scent, and of course, it is used with spermicidal gel. Uh, yeah, we're now going to be looking at spermicidal gel or spermicides. So we spoke about, you're going to find some little things on the market that would have tweaks. So we spoke about the femidom, and we spoke about the diaphragm. And they're pretty much, one is sort of a little bigger than one, and pretty much we might use them interchangeably. But this is a big thing here. This is more, as Rennie could call it, the female condom or the fedom. And the diaphragm would pretty much be fit pretty much the same way. It's usually shorter. All right, usually shorter, and it is fit pretty much around the neck of the cervix. If you look in the book, you'll see a very short one, and pretty much this acts the same way. All right, so let us move on. The spermicides. Spermicides, they come in little tubes, and they may be in the form of cream, they may be in the form of a jelly, they may be in the form of foam. Now, what they do, they are placed in the vaginal canal before they start. All right, so they are placed in the vaginal canal before the start of you know what. They are not reliable if they are used by themselves. Hence, they must be used with things like a condom or a diaphragm, and they are pretty much used to kill the sperms. They kill the sperms or slow down the movement. All right, and another thing about it is that the spermicides may cause irritation. All right, Paul, you can't say that V word on the show, and that is why you have to use, like, you have to say like the vaginal canal. It's a different way than saying that V word. All right, so every time you say that, we'll observe that you're not seeing your message because YouTube would have flagged it, and as such, it's not coming up. So the spermicides there, we'll look at them, and there are many at the market. On the market, you can get them at the pharmacy. So you guys would know about them more than I do, I think. So don't be afraid to educate me on them as we go on. We're going to be talking now about, oh, so we finished talking about this. I don't want to throw away my femidom. It's the one that I have. I got it years ago. I don't even know. I got some from somewhere. I don't know where I got them, but I know I got them. The condom, this is popular use. So it's very easy. In some cases, you ask students to check their clinic to, of course, get them. You must insert 30 minutes before coitus. Long time I hear that word. You know? A long time I hear that word. Yes, yes. So some might say an hour, some might say, and that is why I was saying don't time me down on that. So we're going to be talking about intrauterine device. You guys must be very, very special. I have had this IUD for probably 12 years, and I've never opened it. Never. And that is probably one of the reasons I like to teach you guys, because you sort of pull me out of the thing sometimes. I'm sort of go a little further. I sort of like that. I like the challenge sometime. All right, so this is a demo unit. This is a demo unit. It was given to me. I must pull it out. Tell me in the chat if you want me to pull it out. Yeah. You want me to pull it out? You have to tell me in the chat now if you want me to pull out the IUD. So we have looked at a lot of things. I we're doing a whole lot of practical. So we have the IUD, and then I have something that I am using for the contraceptive pill, but it is not the contraceptive pill. But of course, for those persons who have never seen it, it pretty much takes the same form. So somebody is saying that I should pull it. I'm going to pull it, and I'm going to go to a clinic and tell them that I need it. Usually when I go to the clinic and ask them for anything around contraceptive and all of those stuff, they are always willing to give it to me. I tell you, yeah, I'm blessed that way. When I go to the clinic, once I say, I am a bio teacher and I need this or I need that, they just say, okay, sir, and they just give it to me. All right, this is going to be difficult to see. I don't understand the setup. All right, so, all right, I'm going to try to see if I can do. So I see it look like this is placed into this. So I don't know about it, you see. Don't bother laugh after me now, take your time with me. All right, so I have this thing here. See it? See the two little string there? And this is the copper, you can see it. This is what they call copper T. All right, and what this does is to prevent implantation. So it is a copper there around this plastic thing, and this plastic thing go through this straw thing here. We have the straw thing here, and then we have this thing here that should, of course, tell how far up it is going to wherever it is going. And I think this is going to be connected to this in some way, shape, or form. I am looking at it to see if I can see how it is connected. If anybody knows it is connected, you can tell me. But I'm sure that it is connected to this. So I think that it is the makeup is that this gets inside of this. Not a doctor here. So this will get inside of the straw at the top here. And then this will be inserted here, right? And it will hold onto these strings. And I think that what they will do, they will pull it down in order to, I don't know what, in order to extend this or something, to have it implanted in the wall of the uterus to prevent implantation. So this is pretty much, let me just show you again, that is pretty much the copper T. And this is one method. There are many different stuff. And I think this is the thing that does the manipulation to get it in and get it to work. If I can show you the paper, non-sterilized it. All right, if you need to see it on the screen again, I'll look it up, but I won't show you anything else about it. All right, so the intrauterine device, which is of course called the IUD, is pretty much a loop or coil or a T-shaped. I show you the T-shaped one, but you have some that look like S or something. Yeah, that is Jamaica. You're going to get a lot of noise every now and then. You have some that are sort of S-shaped. If I can find a paper that they might look like this type of thing that is inserted in there. And I'm going to tell you what happens. They come in loop. They come in coil, come in T, like I've just showed you the T, and they are usually made of copper. The one I showed you a while ago is made of copper. Some are made of plastic, some are made of steel, and some pretty much have the hormone of progesterone. All right, so pretty much that's the construct of these things. Another thing that you need to know is that they are placed in the uterus. They are placed in the uterus, and what they do or how they operate is to stop the implantation. So remember, we said that the spermicidal gel would kill the sperm, so that would prevent fertilization. But the copper T is preventing implantation. All right, let's continue. Now, for some person, this copper T thing is pretty much uncomfortable on the inside. All right, most women don't like this, so they really don't want this type of a thing. But it's pretty much a long-standing birth contraceptive method. where it's inserted and thereafter you seek medical help. It's a doctor who would do that, not Mr. Wilson or any old person, not your fiance or any person like that. It must be a trained hand that is going to be inserting that. Like I said, it's inserted by a doctor. And of course, you get annual checkup after you put it in. It's like, hey, I don't have to think about being conceived because I have this thing in. Must be inserted by a trained professional. Very good. And of course, it is reliable. Once it is inserted there and working well by the train, and it is going to be reliable. You don't have to worry yourself that you're going to get wet in any rain. You could wet up as much, you are not going to catch any colds. There won't be any worry about you blowing your nose. I remember we're using these words because we really don't want to get flagged. Now, every menstruation may be possible after this thing is inserted. All right. Sometimes I'm teaching the class, it sounds like it's not a regular class. It's the notes and it's a syllabus. I might be coming across a way in the bulleted stuff. It's pretty much a notes that I'm giving you. How long is it good for? I know it can be there for up to a year, and then your doctor is going to be advising you how long thereafter you're going to keep it. So also has a few side effects. Yeah, it has side effects. Sir, sir, the rain and cold, they're funny. Yeah, you know that your parents would tell you anywhere you catch your cold, you must go and blow your nose. So my student knows that they know that I can't say some word, or else I'm going to get flagged like a couple of persons are getting flagged here. All right. So when you use this copper T thing or this intrauterine device, some of the side effect is that there might be heavier menstruation, might be heavier. It, of course, may cause more pain during menstruation. It might have more abdominal pain, and of course, the period may even go for longer periods. All right. That at first sight sound to me like the ills are more than the pros are more than cons are more than the pros. So it sounds all right. I'm going to have a 1 year, not have to. I don't have to take anything, but then I have this whole lot of pain and have this heavy flow, and it is going for longer. I don't know if I want that method. I don't know, ladies. You can tell me. Pregnancy can occur, but rarely but if you do atopic pregnancy, just tell us about atopic pregnancy. That is pregnancy where the development is not happening in the uterus. Just tell the class for me, because a lot of women, and when you're having that atopic pregnancy, the pain is not normal. The pain is not normal, and of course, usually this is a pregnancy that is usually terminated. So just give them some more on that from Amoy. All right. So there we have it for the IUD. That's another method. I know that I am coming across with the content and it sounds as if it is not class. It sounds so trivial and so casual, but be mindful when you are going to be watching the video again. You want to turn on your closed caption because, of course, it's a notes that I'm giving. All right, I might be saying a little things here and there. Sir, stop here. Oh, yeah, I know. All right, so we continue. So we're going to be looking at the contraceptive pill. And the truth is, I am almost 500 years old, but I've never seen a contraceptive pill. Other than seeing, I don't know if I've ever seen it in class, students carrying it, but I can't recall seeing one like somebody giving me. I don't remember. What I have here are pretty much some iron tablets, and the contraceptive pill would pretty much come on a card like this, in pretty much all seed like this down a row with some arrows that indicate how you take them. And there are different types of contraceptive from different companies. And of course, it is advised that you take this contraceptive as is advised by the medical practitioner, or as is advised on the package, or what the pharmacist or whoever the pharmacist would have directed you. Something that this copper tea thing, like you have some morning sickness and all of these fancy dancy. I don't know, but of course, person's experience different, and some are going to be way outside of that which would have already. There are always new things coming. Some because of your age, your diet, all of these things, your partners, all of these things could, of course, so you have Postinor 2 after morning pill. We're going to be talking about Postinor and after morning pill. Those are sort of a little different. Yeah, we're going to be talking about those. The another thing we're going to be talking about is the slow release, or the one that you call the patch. All right, so you have not been seeing much of that, but we're gonna. So the ectopic pregnancy is when the fetus develop outside of the uterus. Don't just tell us outside of the uterus. Tell us where, because it's not in the vagina. All right, tell us where. Don't just tell us outside. Just be a little more specific. The fallopian tube. All right. All right. So let us move on. What's known is just for emergency. We're going to be talking about that as we get now into the pill, and we have been looking at the barrier method. We look at those that prevent implantation, like the copper T and the coil and all of those, the IUDs, the implantation. And we're now going to be looking at those that prevents fertilization. All right. So we're looking now at the contraceptive pill. Sir, I used to be on the pill. Take it with 72 hours, within 72 hours or 3 days, because sperm travels to the egg within 3 days. Uh, oh, sir, for morning after pills. Okay, okay. What happened here? Is it that it changed? Sir, I used to be on the pill and I got very sick, so I have to stop. It has side effects. Very good. Rennie coming with the teenagers are going to be knowing a lot about these, and not that Rennie is active, but I think she's well read. So of course she is privy to the information to share with us, the youngers. So the contraceptive pill, they contain, and I want us to remember this now. You remember in our last class we were talking about progesterone and estrogen, and we were talking about how they prepare the walls of the uterus for implantation. I would say that progesterone, what it did, one of the things other than preparing the wall was that it stops ovulation. And remember that ovulation is the release of the egg. So now what the contraceptive pills, what they do is pretty much they contain estrogen and progesterone, and in some cases, some only contain progesterone, they don't contain both. They stop FSH, and you remember that follicle stimulating hormone is, of course, being produced by the pituitary gland. So they stop the pituitary gland from secreting the FSH, hence ovulation. So ovulation stop. All right. So you're not producing the egg not being released. All right. So that is one of the things that we need to know about the contraceptive pill. Another thing, should be taken as prescribed. And of course, another thing that it does is that it causes the walls of the cervix or the muscles of the cervix to, of course, become thick, and that sort of prevent this sperm from moving. It creates some problem for the sperms to move. They find it difficult to move. Of course, the contraceptive pill, unlike the IUD, would have shortened the period. All right, so it doesn't make menstruation be that long, it is much shorter. And of course, with the contraceptive pill, you are going to enjoy less pain than you would have with the IUD. Sir, if you take the pill while you're ovulate, it not gonna work. You still are Lord Jesus. Rennie, for you I am praying. Akamashanda for you. Rennie, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. Know, listen, this is a Caribbean class and they don't understand. In a matter of fact, I shouldn't go there. Let me deal with this. The word that Renique is using there, that breed word, it is a correctly used word. Breed as is used is a correctly used word. It's just that we talk about breed more when talking about agriculture. So it's a correctly used word, breed. All right. Now, if you have family history of breast cancer, you're not to take Postinor 2. High ransom. All right. I just truth. All right. Sir, can you save this live? I need to rewatch the lives. All the lives are on the channel. You just need to go to the channel and go to the live. There's a playlist for live, and you click it and you sit there and watch it until next year. We have over probably 55 different lives you can choose to watch. All right. So let us go back to this now. I think I missed somebody somewhere, and I'm going to start again. So we said that the contraceptive pill, they contain estrogen and progesterone. And in some cases, they contain progesterone alone. Now, remember that progesterone is responsible for ovulation, and it also helps, like estrogen, to deal with deal with the uterus wall, prepare it for implantation. So if you are using pills that is pretty much inhibiting that, then no implantation will take place, hence no pregnancy. Now, they are to be taken as prescribed. They cause the cervix muscle to become thick, and because of this becoming thick, the sperms find it difficult to pass. Now, another positive about the contraceptive pill is that it shortens menstruation, shorten the length of time. And next thing, it doesn't cause that much pain as with the IUD, the interuterine devices. It doesn't cause a lot of pain. Now, if a pill, this is a big problem now. If you miss one of those pills, one, not two, not three, not four, not five, if you miss one, don't fool yourself. It will not work. So don't have been taking on me just miss one. You miss one today and then you start it tomorrow. They're not going to work like that. Because a certain level of concentration must be maintained in order for it to work. And when you miss a day, you would have broken that concentration, so to speak. All right? So they have side effects. They have side effects. And the side effects might be many. And different women, they are going to say different things about the side effect. There are some persons who will tell you that when they use contraceptive, even after they stop taking it, they still can't see, they still don't experience menstruation. And there are some persons who will tell you that even after stop taking the contraceptive, they are bleeding, and they must go and see the doctor. So all of these things are side effects that you must be aware of. Another thing I want to talk about is one that they call the patch or the slow release. It's pretty much hormone, and that is usually inserted like underneath your sleeve somewhere here. They put it in your hand. Most time it's in your hand, and there are girls who will come when you teach this lesson and they say, yes, sir, see my one day, and they'll just press the hand like that, and you'll see a little thing looking like a pin or a little needle in their hand. Yeah, girls would have shown that to me from time to time. I am teaching at different levels. All right, so of course, these, of course, are birth contraceptive method as well. They are inserted by medical professionals under the skin. And what they do is to stop ovulation. If you stop ovulation, it means that there's no egg being released, so it's going to be disintegrated in the body. At least 7 pills in the pack is placebo. All right, so there are several pills in the pack that doesn't make any sense. Placebo mean they don't make any sense. We could go to placebo. If you want to know about placebo, type in Tuskegee experiment, where they infected some black people with gonorrhea and give them placebo tablet with sugar, tell them that they're curing the gonorrhea, when all they were doing was to try to see how long a black man can live without gonorrhea. Live with gonorrhea and survive. Don't go there. That's an ethics in science story. And you might start 8 people, and this is not a show for 8. But as I say, placebo is the best place to talk about placebo when we talk about ethics in science. And we continue. All right, so let me see what happens here. All right, I find that I'm talking a lot. I hope that I am not stealing your show, and I hope that we are learning. What's happening here? Okay, cool. All right, so we have the slow release hormone, and it pretty much stop ovulation. And like I said earlier, it must be inserted by a medical profession, not Mr. Wilson. Not because Mr. Wilson is your teacher and I spoke a lot about it, it means that I know anything about it, that I could insert it. You have to seek help from your doctor. And then this is a big one that Renick seems to read a lot on, the morning after. And those are many, there are many of them on the market. And they are also birth contraceptive measures. They are birth contraceptive measures, and they are taken after the rain would have fallen. All right, I hope you understand what that means. So they are taken after coitus, right? So when you do that, when you take it after coitus, as it's prescribed on it, be it 2 days or 3 days, I don't know, it stops pretty much implantation. All right, I didn't even have that one, the injection. There's also the injection. I didn't even touch that one. Yeah, that one is there as well. There it is, Barnett. Speaking about it, and Barnett is a grown person, so she would pretty much have a lot of knowledge to talk about it. And that one, the injection, they're going for 3 months. And of course, already is saying 3 days. So just tell me about the ones that I haven't touched, because probably they are not in the literature that is asked of me. And some of these I'd love to know as a teacher so I can share them moving on. So we talk about the morning after, which is of course used after coitus. And of course it stops implantation, but you must take it as is prescribed. There's also a hormonal patch. We spoke about the hormonal patch just now, but thank you very much. Then we get on to the last part now, where we talk about sterilization, where we talk about surgery, the surgical method, and the surgical method in men is going to be vasectomy. And if you can't remember which is what, just remember vasectomy, right? And we talk about vas difference, or the ovi. We talk about vas difference. Sorry. We talk about the fallopian tube, oviduct. All right, and we talk about the vas difference and vasectomy. So vasectomy is of course in male. Vasectomy is in male, and usually a piece of that sperm duct, vas difference, is removed, just a little piece, and then it is clamped at the end. Sorry, the injection is worse. They said the injection is the worst one. I've heard about that, yes. So vasectomy is in male, right? And of course, what happens is that the sperm duct is cut or severed and sealed at the end. I could tell you how we do it in animals, because as an agriculturalist, we would have done this as simple surgery. We did this at college, but I won't trouble it. It might be too much for this show. All right. Sperm duct is cut and sealed, and there's also a new way of doing that. In some cases, they are clamping it, and when they clamp it, it's not a sterilization, because it can be removed thereafter. There's also a plug, a latest plug that is now being used, that pretty much is put in that tract to prevent or block the sperms from moving. So this is a modern way. The thing about this modern way, the plug being used, is that it is not permanent. It is not permanent. All right. So we talk about vasectomy, it could be permanent, or it could be something that they are using a clamp or something like that, using latex plug. But if it's vasectomy, as the thing is cut, it will be more permanent, and that pretty much is like 100% safe. Then we have tubal ligation, and tubal ligation is of course in women, where the oviduct are pretty much cut and sealed, and in this case the egg can't come down there to the uterus. All right, so we see the sperms can't going up to get to that penis, and we see that the eggs cannot move to get to the uterus. So remember, these are the two methods, the two surgical method: vasectomy in men with a vas difference, and of course tubal ligation in women. Now, a common word on the road is that they would say that him tie off or she tie off. They use this word tie off on the road to speak to the surgical method. So there we looked at a whole lot of different methods of birth contraceptive, and there should be one there for everyone. I don't know which one is for who or which one is more suitable for who, but if you don't know which one is more suitable for you, you can always seek help from your medical practitioner. We are going to be looking now at the injection is worse. I've always heard about the injection, that it is like really serious. I don't know. I mean, no, I don't think any man should be in any position to tell a woman what is the most suitable method for her to use for her body. That's my thing. I don't think so. I think the woman must make that decision. Brother, my body this, not brother. You decide what you do with your body, brother. And my body this. All right. I don't like the injection thing. It has a whole lot of side effect. It going to make me get fat and whatever. You soon start telling me I'm out of shape and me look like barrel or whatever. So if you want the injection, go and go take the injection. Remember that birth contraceptive that for men too, you know. You don't want to use the condom. You can go to vasectomy, brother. Why you have forced me to use a me no want to use that type of thing. All right, sir. I was on the injection for 6 years. Each woman will have a different side effect depending on your body makeup. I would say definitely it will always, different persons will always have. So there's, like I said, there's always one there for you. You just have to find the one that is most suitable. Now I'm going to be going the effective contraceptives, and I'm going to be going from most reliable to least reliable. But I'm going to get you in the mix of things here because I observed that this evening I never allow you to talk much. We don't have much to go where I don't we're going to reach up to 8 o'clock. The show wasn't designed for that. Oh wow. Show wasn't really designed for 8 o'clock. I had something else. All right. So I'm going to start with the safest method. What do you think is the safest method? Some say the IUD causes heavier menstrual cycle. Yes, that is true. All right. What is the safest method to you? The safest method for you. Tell me, of all the methods we spoke about now, which is the safest? Of all the methods we spoke about just now, which is the safest? Type it in the chat there for me. A long list now. We spoke about 10 or 11 methods. Rhythm? No, it's not rhythmic. That couldn't be the safest. And that is way down on the pecking order. No, the condom couldn't be the safest. It's going to be abstinence. If you don't walk in the rain, you're not going to get wet, brother. So, of course, staying away, not troubling that thing. Stay over east, don't go over the, you follow me? Just don't do it. That is going to be the safest way. I'd say stay away. Very good, stay away. And of course, in your exam, you're going to write abstinence. Hardest, but I believe abstinence is the safest. It is, of course, the safest. Condom, we're going to look at condom. Abstain is a safe, but not ideal. I'm not too sure if it is ideal. You see, there's always going to be controversy over what method is best and what method is not best. But I think abstinence, it's like you have one animal in a cage over here and one in a cage. We're not in cage. I really don't even want to teach it like this because it sounds as if I'm going against what the technocrats would have said. But abstinence, it's easy to say that, of course, it's the safest method because if you don't walk in the rain, you don't get wet. So just stay away and you'll be fine. Now, the next, which one would come after abstinence? Tell me in the chat there. What comes after abstinence? So abstinence is number one. That is the safest. Which comes next? All right. I have been using withdrawal for 13 years now. All right. So you think that if withdrawal is the safest? There are persons who become pro at what they do, you know. And when you become pro, you will always see it as the safest. But what about you have not used all the others, right? So here where you still have to rely on the content. So you could say that for me, this is what works. But what is the international? We're looking at the international standard. So the surgical method is definitely going to come in next. All right, after abstinence. If you cut the tube, it cut, it seal, it do good. Surgery is performed well by a good doctor, not one like Mr. Wilson. Then that will be next in line. So you're going to have abstinence, then you have the surgical method. Then what is the other method? Next in line. Next in line, I tell you. Morning after if you take it correct. So the next in line is, of course, going to be your contraceptive pills. Your contraceptives pill, those hormones that prevent implantation and all that. So the next in line is going to be the contraceptive. The contraceptive pills, those hormonal stuff. All right. So after the contraceptive pill, next in line is going to be your IUD. Next in line is going to be your IUD. So we have ASCI, abstinence, sterilization, contraceptive, IUDs. Abstinence, sterilization, contraceptive pills, and your IUDs. All right, good. Now, after IUD, you are going to have your diaphragm. And this is the diaphragm being used with spermicidal gel. Now, you observe how far down the diaphragm and the spermicidal gel is. So the first four, always remember the first four is going to be abstinence, sterilization, contraceptive pill, then IUDs. Then you have the diaphragm, and spermicidal gel. That comes next, after which you are going to have the condom. We just looked at the condom and see how easily it is for the condom to burst. Then after the condom, it's going to be the spermicidal gel if it is used alone. If you use the spermicidal gel alone, it is ranked 7th. And then you're going to be looking at rhythmic sex, or the safe period, that is going to rank 8th. And then withdrawal is going to rank number 9. And then the one which is ranked number 10 is to use no contraceptive whatsoever. So we start again with the methods. Abstinence, number 1, most effective, followed by sterilization, followed by contraceptives. We could talk about the hormones. We could talk about the injection, the pill, the morning after, the slow release. All of those now come in the contraceptive stuff we're using the hormone. Then you have the IUDs, which come right after those contraceptive stuff. Then you have the diaphragm being used with spermicidal gel. Then condoms, then spermicidal gel by themselves. And then we have rhythmic, or the safe period. And then we have withdrawal. So it is pretty much the worst of them all. And then we have none at all. Just make it happen as if you were a part of a particular religion. So that pretty much gives a lineup of effectiveness from most effective to least effective. It might be time for you to ask yourself, how well is it working for you, or which one you'd advise anybody on taking? Now, Rennie has a whole lot of knowledge around number 3, which is, of course, the hormonal stuff. She made a lot of utterances about the hormonal stuff. I think she is reading. Make sure that you are not doing some of these practical, because you might find yourself in deep waters, and we really don't want to see you there, at least not yet. Now, we're now going to be talking about the topic which somebody asked about earlier, and then we're going to be close to the end of the show. At the end of the show, I think you are going to get 2 ads. I think 2 ads will come up at the end of the show, so don't worry yourself too seriously. All right, so I want to give my assignment now. I'm going to call some names. I don't see Didi, I don't see Tanisha, I don't see some persons in the show. Let me call some names, and I want some people to answer. Am I? Answer. Answer, am I? I have some assignment I need to give out. Jawawan, are you here? Jawawan, are you here? Amoy, are you here? We still have some stuff to touch, but I need some persons to do some. So good. All right, so. All right, guess what you are going to do now? So Amoy, your assignment for Wednesday's class, and you are going to give it in bulleted format. So when we come and you're presenting, put it in some bullets that we can follow. You are going to tell us about breast cancer. All right, so we are looking at some cancer that is associated with the reproductive organs in both male and female. Your task is to look at breast cancer. What's his name again? Mackenzie, Kevin. Kevin, you are going to be presenting to us bulleted form on prostate cancer. Kevin, please respond. You are going to be doing prostate cancer. You just give me about 5 bulleted points or 6 there about little things. All right, we'll ask a question. So Kevin is going to be looking at prostate cancer. Amoy is going to be looking at breast cancer. Let me see who else is here. I'm looking for the persons who are usually always here that we are sure. I'm going to be giving some persons backup. Rennie, you are going to be working with Kevin to solve for prostate cancer. So you and Kevin, if Kevin is not here, you will have to present. If you are not here, Kevin will have to present. Who else do I see? Amor, you got your stuff. Amor, you are going to be working with Powell. When I say work, you don't even have to talk to each other. Powell is going to do the work. You are going to do the work, and either you will present on the day or back up each other. All right. So Barnett, I hope that you are feeling well now. If you can't do the assignment, let me know now. Barnett, you are going to be looking at cervical cancer. Barnett, you are looking at cervical cancer, and you are going to partner with Barnett, you are going to partner with wow. Is Tanisha here or Otisha? Tanisha or Otisha? Yes, no, let me see. The guy who's here from Guyana? Who's here from Guyana? All right, never mind, Treasure. Oh, Treasure, you can't go yet. Treasure, you are going to be looking at cervical cancer with, I think, Barnett. So you're looking in, so two of you, you don't need to really talk to her. Just do the research. Either you're going to present. Okay, take care. We'll soon finish the show. What we're going to look at next, we're going to be looking at medical abortion. And after medical abortion, the show will be finished. So we'll soon finish. All right, so we need somebody now to look at ovarian cancer. Is there anybody else from another island? Please hold up your hand. Don't be shy. That is why you are here. You want to practice. Somebody from another island, somebody outside of Jamaica. All right, Breathwaite is here. Breathwaite, you are going to be looking at ovarian cancer. Choose somebody from the room that you want to partner with you on that. Macmillan, oh my works. Macmillan, you are going to partner with Breathwaite on ovarian cancer. You're going to present in bulleted form for the next time. Yes, I'm happy you're here from Guyana and I have some work to give you. So you're going to be partnering with Macmillan to tell us about ovarian cancer in the next show. So it means that if one is not here, the other, both of you can present and back up each other. Please be reminded to like, share, and of course, subscribe. We are going to finish the show on abortion. I wanted to have a debate, but we are out of time, so I'm just going to be just getting it out of the way. And then our next class, we are going to be looking at inheritance. We're going to be looking at mitosis. Pretty much a nice class there. Come next class Wednesday, we're going to be looking at mitosis, and that's about male. That's about bio and HSB. I know on the biology syllabus, after we would have finished contraceptive, we were supposed to go into disease, but we are going to do all the diseases at the same time. HSB is big on disease. So bio, we are going to be doing your disease with HSB. Everybody is going to be now doing mitosis, after which we are going to do meiosis, and then we are going to go on until we get to disease. So everybody is going to do everything at the same time. So we're looking at medical abortion, and of course, medical abortion could be considered as a method of contraceptive. Some might say, no, there's a controversy around abortion. Now, why is it so much of a problem? It's because the life of a fetus is destroyed, and there are different norms, culture, and so on that see that as being a problem. Now, how this is done, you probably want to step away if what I'm saying might be too graphic for you. You probably want to step away. Now, it can be done by booty. Oh, wonderful. So you probably want to step away for what I'm going to say now. I'm going to be telling you a little bit about 4 ways in which abortion is done. And of course, it's not something for you to practice, but it is out there for me to cover, so I have to cover. So it could be done by suction if the fetus is very young. It could be done by scraping the uterus, and that is in itself dangerous. It could be done by drugs like using oxytocin, and you will know that start contraction, and that could be done. And of course, it could be done by a surgery, depending on how old the young one there is. Now, the reason for this is usually around economics, health of mother, social norms or social preference, and in some cases, fetus is deformed as a health condition. So, of course, that could happen. The thing about a fetus being deformed, usually if there's something really wrong with the fetus and so on, the body would experience what is called spontaneous abortion, and it would have actually gotten rid of this offspring, the fetus itself. But there are many reasons to and for where abortion is concerned, and it is something that we have to listen to everyone. We can't just say just leave persons to do what they want to do. In some cases where things where it is being abused and become what we call common good, anything that is common good usually experience what we call tragedy of the common. If something is going to experience tragedy of the common, then the state will have to step in and take charge. You could go and research what is tragedy of the common. It's not much to look at. Abortion can lead to infertility. That is something that we have to remember. So we really don't want to have a population of people who can't produce offspring, all because while they were going to college, they made a wrong move and then they did an abortion, and then we have everybody who went to college can't produce offspring. Someone should have to step in. So we can't just say allow persons to do what they want to do. All right, so we have to look at all that. Now, the views in the Caribbean as it relates to abortion is pretty much different as we move from place to place. And right across the world, the views are pretty much different. Now, the views, yeah, I think there's even countries where you can practice euthanasia. Euthanasia is mercy killing. Hey, I really don't want to pay my loans. I don't want to live anymore. I tired my girlfriend. Give me this or my girlfriend. I want to die. I just sign a paper, say, kill me, and they kill you. That is euthanasia, mercy killing, right? And that might be something ethical. That person might say that is just wrong. But there are countries in the world that allow you to live that through. I don't want to live until I persons have to take care of me. So when I reach this age, I'm willing to go. Give me an injection and I will go. There, yes. So the views in the Caribbean really vary. And of course, some of the things that you have to look at around the whole idea of abortion is if, of course, there's going to be preservation of the mother's life. So if that baby is going to call the death of the mother, then you have to look at the possibility of abortion, because we know the mother, we really don't know the offspring. It might be a cool way to think, but it is something that is on the table to talk about. Now, there are cases where persons might be involved in rape. I don't know if that is even right, because in some cases persons can only have that's the only child, and there are many instances of that. That is something to talk about. I have no views on it, so I'm not here sharing my views. Now, causes of deformity. Now, the offspring ultrasound would have shown that something is really off. Really off. Remember, we spoke about the ultrasound. The doctor might recommend, hey, this is not this. We suggest that you do this or do that, or else you might live an entire life in pain. All right. So there are those circumstances. There's also circumstances of incest. A brother and a sister, a mother and a son and a daughter, and a father, and all of them mix up cobwebs type of stuff. There's also those cases where there's a consideration around abortion. Then there's also the health of the mom. We spoke about that already. High blood pressure and preeclampsia and all of these fancy things I don't even understand. There's also these that we have to take in consideration. Then there's also the health of the child. Does it make any sense? Would this child live and really be able to help him or herself or anybody at all? Or this is just going to be added problem and so these are some things on the table. I have no views. These are not my views. I'm just throwing things on the table as they are to think about when we think about a abortion, or as the Caribbean would think about abortion. Then we get to the point now, the last point, we talk about reproduction. There is no reproduction unless a male and or female is fertile. So we talk about fertility being the ability to produce an offspring. And if you are not fertile, then you are considered to be infertile. Now, you don't want to do anything that would cause you to be infertile, because everyone wants to experience the whole idea of giving birth, having a youth. I remember I was having fish one day, and there was this fellow playing some music, and he was saying, "Boy, some boy worthless, me they not even ever get a daddy come." You know, when you come from work and the baby say, "Oh, daddy come, daddy come." You follow me? Everybody wants to have that experience. Some women is saying, "I want to be able to clean my child's own stool and all that. I want to feel the hug. I want to hear the cry. I want to have all this." I want to have the emotion. I want to hear a child scream and it touch me somewhere in my body, that type of a thing. So this brings us to the end of the show, and you are going to be staying on for a little while. Like I said, what would have happened at the end? I am really, really, really happy to be here with you. Thanks for sharing the evening with me. We are going to be going off now. And of course, I am going to be going before you this evening, and you are going to be here for a little while until you go as well. The system will shut itself down. Thanks so much for joining me, and see you next on Wednesday. Good evening. Send me a mail if there's anything you want to talk about. Thank you.